If you haven't heard about Anchor by Spotify, it's the easiest way to make a podcast, with everything you need all in one place. My fiance originally put me onto this app, and I'm so glad that she did. Let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. When hosting on Anchor, you can distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcast, and more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And dude, the best part, Anchor is absolutely free. So download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm today. That's ANCHOR.FM.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to the Streets Photog podcast. I'm your host, David Joseph Delgrand. So this is a little bit different. I thought that maybe every Friday I would check in with everyone and just kind of give everyone an idea of how I'm feeling creatively, what the temperature is in my creativity, and some of the books that I'm reading that are giving me some inspiration. So currently I'm ending my nights with UnF Yourself by Gary John Bishop. And at first when I picked up the book, I wasn't too impressed. I've read a lot of literature about self-help and improving, and I guess this book, but this book would definitely fall into that self-help kind of category. Sometimes they resonate with me, these types of novels and essays and exercises. At first, I can't say that this one did, but upon second thought, I've been really enjoying it. It's a punchy writing style, and it's the type of book right now that when I'm flipping it open, it is giving me the material I exactly need. So I don't know what that is. There's something in the universe saying like, hey, you should be reading this right now, and I'm pretty stoked about it. It is currently May 6th, Friday, 2022. I'm hanging out in Dunbar Spring. It's about 6:40 in the morning, just about to take some street photography, and I wanted to try this new version of, not new version, but a new iteration of my podcast. Really just always looking for ways to expand it, add some value for people who are out in the field, being creative, needing a little bit of a prompt, or just kind of checking in to see what I'm up to. So I'm hanging out in Dunbar Spring near the train tracks. My guess is that this audio may be disrupted because I'm close enough to the tracks that when it comes blasting through town, we'll at least have to pause, or I'll have to call it a day. But right about chapter 6 in Bishop's book, it begins with, quote, "I am not my thoughts, I am what I do." It goes on to say, "You are not defined by what's inside your head. You are what you do. Your actions." End quote. And, that's definitely taking a spiritual, a spiritual advantage of who we are as humans. I know that when you get into practicing yoga or anything along those lines, the idea is to quiet the mind, because that constant chatter is not really who you are. There's, the essence of your soul is a lot different than the noise in your head. And typically with spiritual practice, you aim to quiet that. But the beginning of chapter 6 really hit home for me, because a few years ago, I decided that I needed to spend as much time doing something as possible, and that one thing was my photography and creative work. A lot of writing and a lot of photography. So I spend the early morning hours right before I clock in for my day job grabbing a bunch of street photos and doing some video, and it has really changed my opinion of the world. I don't start my day in fear or confusion or anything like that, because I think a lot of people do. When you click on the news and you find something out that's really going to stir controversy in your mind or get you upset, that's not how I start my day. Typically I start my day editing yesterday's photos and get them up on social media, see what the response is, and then, just start the process over again, where I'm on the streets at about 6:30 a.m. I get some good work in and try to push it on social as much as I can throughout the day. But yeah, I think there's some real value in, sometimes you could be fearful of chasing your goals and your dreams, or just fearful about the future if you're kind of at an impasse. But making sure that you're continuing to do the things that make you feel good about the world is just an invaluable tool that everyone has access to. And I'm not saying go out there and, run like 100 miles every morning. Maybe it's just something as simple as doing yoga or stretching, or, reading up on good habits, no matter what your creative field is. Mine in particular is photography and writing, so I make sure that I fill my days with that activity. So that's what I got on today's Friday Feelings. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and really appreciate the support thus far. If you want to support this podcast any further, please log on to my website, davidjdelgrand.com, and buy my first self-published softcover photo book, Lutes del Barrio.